Throughout the era of Disney's takeover of the Star Wars galaxy, it is unquestionable and undeniable that the most popular and well-received show and movie that Disney has released after their takeover of the galaxy far, far away and started releasing the sequel movies, which, let's be real, are very divisive in their standards and in their mojo, but undoubtedly the most well-received and fan-serviced show that has ever been released in possibly all of Star Wars history, with the exception of maybe the Clone Wars, is The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian brought back what many people assumed to be what Star Wars was meant to be, with being that Western gunslinger vibe that lured like a bad-smelling fart in the air. The Mandalorian introduced us to Din Djarin and Grogu, and is one of the reasons for the show's major popularity, with Din Djarin being an incredibly emotionally complex character who was very bold, daring, and adventurous, and made every fan really enjoy it. We also loved his trademark line, which is, "I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold." Next we have Grogu. Grogu is one of the staple faces for Star Wars these days, with it being originally theorized that he was a baby Yoda, and that this actually took place prior to Order 66 and the Great Jedi Purge, and even the Clone Wars, and this was Yoda as a baby. However, it was confirmed in one of the first few episodes of the first season that this took place post the Battle of Endor, on Tatooine, and Tython, and many other planets. It is important to note that The Mandalorian was one of the greatest shows and possibly the most well-received show in all of Disney Plus history, being the greatest show that not only Disney, but possibly all of cinema, box office included, has ever released. But, as I was saying, The Mandalorian, Din Djarin, was a dangerous and merciless bounty hunter that was considered to be one of the greatest gunslingers, marksmen, and wielders of a kinetic weapon in all of the galaxy at the time of the New Empire's reign, with only Luke Skywalker and few others to challenge him. So today I thought we should take a delve into his iconic weaponry. What equipment did the Mandalorian use? And why should we fear him going into Season 3? Are you ready, acolytes? Let's begin. Before we begin and commence with this video, I would like to note that many of the acolytes and students who dock at our archives in order to immerse themselves in knowledge have not yet subscribed yet and struck down the subscribe button. I implore you, it is your destiny. With that minor divergence out of the way, let's begin. I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion. Din Djarin was a warrior who initially wore a set of battle-damaged Durasteel Mandalorian armor, utilizing few pieces made from actual pure Beskar, which included a shoulder pauldron, a helmet, and a heart plate, in order to protect him in the places where it was most needed. The bounty hunter began replacing some of his damaged armor pieces with his payment of Beskar from the client upon revealing and giving baby Grogu over to him, known at the time as Baby Yoda. Eventually, he achieved a full Beskar bodysuit of a helmet, plated vest, 2 pauldrons, one bearing his signet, the Mudhorn clan, 2 van braces, 2 gauntlets, 2 greaves, and 2 boots. He also earned a jetpack made from Beskar, which could be controlled remotely using his gauntlets when he was not wearing it. Din Djarin's outfit and attire and his equipment was very similar to that of Boba Fett. However, Boba Fett's included much more vast array of weaponry and weapons and surprises stored within his armor, such as rockets stored within his kneecap that he could fire upon bending down. Din Djarin's final suit included non-Beskar components, including many bandoliers, a cape, and a belt with a pistol holder that he could use almost as fast as Cad Bane in a duel. The van braces that he contained, being his gauntlets, contain a whipcord thrower in the right, a whistling bird launcher that could shoot 12 whistling birds in the left, that could instantly incapacitate and even kill a soldier, as it did with the 4 stormtroopers during the event of The Mandalorian, when Din Djarin brought it back to the client. And had a change of heart, he returned to take baby Grogu and put him under his care, acting as his adopted father as a Mandalorian foundling, and found himself in the custody of 4 stormtroopers. During this, Din Djarin used whistling birds to kill all 4 stormtroopers. He also possessed a flamethrower in each gauntlet. He usually carried an IB-94 blaster pistol holstered in his belt most of the time. a vibro knife sheath within his boot, and an airband phase pulse blaster, which had the ability to instantly disintegrate a target upon collision, which he carried ammunition for in one of his bandoliers. He also carried many flash charges and thermal detonators. The Razor Crest possessed an arsenal of weapons that the Mandalorian was known to be proficient in, such as a Relby V-10 micro-grenade launcher, an EE carbine rifle, a DL-21 blaster pistol, and a drum blaster. His helmet was capable of tracking heat signatures and long-range audio through solid brick, and could even detect recent footprints left on the ground by using his left fan brace in conjunction. While on Tatooine, Din Djarin made use of a Zephyr J speeder bike that had previously belonged to Toro Calican, who, after betraying him, had decided to take his armour and sell it, as it was worth more than the bounty on Fennec Shand would. He also collected an arsenal of weapons and armour of Mandalorian design and ancestry, although he did not generally carry and use them, a vest, jetpack, with a single-shot missile launcher, and helmet with aiming device for missile launcher collected on Tatooine, which was later recovered by Boba Fett, one of the greatest bounty hunters of all time, on Titan, and a Beskar spear collected on Corvus. After defeating Moff Gideon in combat, Din Djarin acquired an ancient Mandalorian weapon that Bo-Katan had long sought to unite the Mandalorian throne, being the Darksaber. The Darksaber being the only black-bladed lightsaber that we know of in all of Star Wars lore, legends, and canon. The Darksaber was a sword-like blade that was constructed by Tar Vizsla over 1,000 years before the events of the Battle of Yavin and the Clone Wars, during which Tar Vizsla was the first Mandalorian Jedi to walk both paths. Over a millennia later, Grogu would also take up this path and continue the tradition of walking both the path of a Jedi and of a Mandalorian. Well, my friends, students of the Force, slaves of the dark side, and extensions of Star Wars lore, I hope you enjoyed this brief understanding of every single weapon that Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, bore during his time as we have seen him in The Mandalorian so far. I am very excited and pumped for The Mandalorian Season 3, with The Mandalorian being in the top 3 best shows of all time in my opinion, and being one of the greatest Star Wars shows and movies and shows that has ever been released, all compiled together. The Mandalorian has an incredible show and has an arsenal of weapons that few can match up to, surpassing even Cad Bane, possibly Boba Fett, and Jango Fett, 3 of the greatest bounty hunters of all time in the galactic history. Well, my friends, tell me what you thought of this Mandalorian content. Tell me if you want to visit it and explore it in later videos. And tell me if you want me to stream The Mandalorian Season 3 episodes when they release later in 2023. Goodbye, Acolytes, and I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away.